All right. Do you do the 3, 2, 1 to where it's really live at the countdown, or is that like was your 3, 2, 1? Like, I don't know. That's
Yeah, I tried.
nice. Count back up. I'm so confused. What am I supposed to do when it counts up?
I don't know.
We're still here. We're live. It's Friday. Oh, dude, have y'all seen that show Manifest on Netflix?
It's been playing in the background a couple times for me, but I haven't watched it.
It's just a weird show, but they like flying back home in the plane, like turbulence and stuff.
Spoilers, first 30 seconds of the show.
Yeah.
It just ruined it for you.
I don't care. It's my show. But some crazy stuff happens, and it's weird. And that I don't know. That's what that made me think about. I guess if y'all
is it like Lost? I don't want to do another Lost.
Oh my god!
Don't make me.
Do another JJ Abrams can. Yeah, I'm wary of anything he touches anymore.
7 seasons of my life.
I'm sure it's like that. I'm sure.
Did you watch Lost?
I watched like the first season of it, and then I was
got out.
Oh,
you got out.
I got out of the game.
The smoke monster. It got weird.
Oh yeah.
I don't care about spoilers on that one. Screw JJ Abrams and the writers on that.
It's just it's a wonky story like that. That's kind of crazy.
If you're getting into Lost now, you need to reevaluate your life.
Oh yeah. You find yourself like thinking about like what do you think they're doing right now? And you're like, wait, that's a fictional character.
They're lost.
They're still lost.
Ooh.
Well, here we're live Friday.
I got tents in the comments. I'm trying to figure out how to get them.
Tents in the comments. On Friday morning is 10 something. So I guess that's a good 10 o'clock time. Parkway Automotive Studios. Yeah, got my guy Pete McGregor here in the house. Been super excited to have him here the last few days. That's why we didn't do the show live on Wednesday, because I was going to pick Pete up. Oh, it's kicking. Oh, you didn't feel it. Sorry.
My soul felt it. I felt it right here.
This is not off to a good start. But no, seriously, like really glad to have you here. But I had to pick him up Wednesday, and that's why we didn't do the show Wednesday. And then yesterday, Charlie has been down at her Nana's down in Bainbridge in our hometown, and she did a little cheerleading camp. And yesterday was the final performance thing or whatever. So, I needed to go watch 5 minutes of 4-year-olds doing cheerleading because it was super important and worth the extra 5 hours in the car yesterday. And that's not even a joke. Like, that's not being sorry. It really was, because she was so happy and did so good.
Yeah, she was pretty excited to see you.
Yeah. So we pushed this all the way back so that the energy would be better, because if we came in yesterday out of the car and tried to pull this off, it would have just been a crappy experience for all of us. So here we are, Friday morning. You've been turning and burning since you got over here, man. What's up? What's been going on with you?
I've just been living in that COVID life. They really shut Canada down pretty badly. So I think 10th Planet. I'm living in Vancouver at the moment, and at 10th Planet Vancouver closed all of but maybe 2 weeks of COVID since February last year. They're open now. I think everything opened up back in Canada as far as academies to train at and stuff like that September 1. June 1st. And everything's been going off since then. But yeah, I've been, very limited training. There's a couple of guys from the 10th Planet Vancouver doing some training in their garage and stuff like that. So I've been getting sessions in there, but it's just been sporadic, for the last 16 months, basically.
That's crazy, dude. And so for us, it's really weird now. And I guess I'm thankful to be here. I know I'm thankful to be here in Perry, in the middle of Georgia, where we've been training since June 1st of last year. That was our opening day. So you guys they've only been able to train a year after we did, but so it's been a wild ride for everybody, kind of, because now that it seems like things are starting to open back up, things are, people are, moving and leveling up again. Yeah. It's kind of cool. But in Canada specifically, you guys have 2-week lockdowns.
2-week lockdown. Immediately when you go back over the border, it's a 2 weeks quarantine. Doesn't matter if you're that rule has just recently changed. Everybody that's vaccinated is exempt from that. But who knows how long that'll last, with all these new things coming out and whatever. They've shown they can just, sweep the rug out from underneath your feet whenever they want want to. So from going, I mean, when we knew each other in San Diego, it was like 2, 3, 4 sessions a day, 5 days a week. That 3-hour open mat in Oside, which is no joke, on a Sunday. There's Saturday afternoon training if you want. Literally 7 days a week, you could go if you wanted to. And sometimes we were all doing that. To go from that to like,
Nothing
one
almost.
one training session every 2 weeks. So I basically been living my life kind of throwing weights around in a gym, but that's the only way I can keep my fitness, where I want it to be.
That's so wild. And then so I guess for anybody that's new, I guess, to following me, they maybe not know you as well. But if you've been around for a while, like we were telling Isaac before, we've got several little episodes or big episodes, however you want to say it, on the just audio version of my podcast that I was doing when I was in San Diego, just kind of recording it off my phone and stuff like that. We really hit it off and bonded a lot out in San Diego, and it's been cool to have you here. The plan was to have you here when we opened up the first day.
Right.
Obviously, as we said, COVID has really changed the way everything is, and so one of the things that to me that kind of came back up in my mind was like the way that the gym itself is actually set up. When we built out the gym the first time, or before we were about to get started, it was like, okay, well, there's this little strip of walkway, but then the door, that back door that goes towards where the bathroom is, it was actually in the middle of where the mats would be. So it was not. So we were gonna have to just leave like an L shape for you or anyone else to just kind of walk through to the back.
Right.
And then when COVID hit, we were like, you know what, there's time. And then I think the need would be right to go ahead and just widen it out, the door right there. And then that way we can put mats all the way to the wall. And now we have wall pads on. So it's like, it allowed for us to make a better room. I feel like overall anyway, to go ahead and make it like accessible.
Right.
But it was cool to think, well, now we'll see if it's actually accessible for you in the way that we hoped for.
It was great. It's always a concern, going to new gyms, because most of them are put into spaces that are obviously cost effective, which ends up being like converted, garages, warehouses, that kind of thing. So it's up a flight of stairs, down a flight of stairs. There's some stairs involved in some fashion.
Most places,
but
tight corners.
But when you get people that are looking after you, I noticed it immediately. And then, like, the byproduct is a lot of times it ends up being a better flow to the room.
Yeah,
anyway,
it is.
Because it actually forces people into the back, and it doesn't allow them to kind of mingle in that middle corridor there.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's just no space.
There's no space to it.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that I'd kind of consider was doing more of like we went to Richard's yesterday and where the mats were all the way across. But I would rather have my restrooms up front then.
Sure.
If we're gonna do it like that way.
Sure.
But that would maximize mat space wall to wall. And so I like that idea as a whole. But for your purposes, that just isn't the right fit overall. So that, like I said, that was a big deal last year in like April.
Right.
Figuring this out, and Jimmy, the brown brother that teaches the kids sometimes with us, said he's the one that did all the work with me. And so we had the wall, and it's like, all right, can we just fill in this door and cut another hole? And he's like, yeah, we can. I was like, well, how much work is it going to be? He's like, it won't be that much. It was like 13 hours of work or some crap. I was like, man, you didn't have to do all of that, I guess. Like, we could have figured it out a little bit differently, but it works, and it flows, and it fits. And so it does. It makes the room flow better, and it's cool. But another thing about that is, like, you were supposed to be, and not in a bad way, like not an accusatory way, but just like you were supposed to be able to be there to help, like, get it started and like build around the culture and be in there and the vibe of the room, stuff like that. And it's just funny to see you now come in and meet people who've been there for a year, and you're like the new guy.
And I don't feel like an outsider at all. I feel like you've done a great job in really transferring that California vibe over to our gym.
Yeah.
That laid back, everybody's friendly with each other, everybody's cool. I really like how we have a very like common theme going on, kind of vibe wise in each room. But I definitely am. I'm the rookie You know what I mean?
Welcome. Well, and just being out of practice a little bit is
for
making
sure.
it harder for you than it would have
For
been,
sure.
like you said,
100%.
in San Diego when you were. And then, and like for me too, though, but like if in the room, I don't know if I want to do as much training as I was always doing back then every day,
No.
but definitely 2-a-days, 5 days a week. And
For
then
sure.
often I would at least be teaching on Saturday. So I would need to roll in class on
Mhm.
Saturday. And then Sunday, those Oceanside, we talk about it on here sometimes, honestly, those Oceanside open mats were epic. Like you never know who would show up, and
that can happen just random days. You
Yeah,
know, it's not like
just-
it's ever planned, and then
just show
suddenly
up.
you'll show up and there'll be like 20 black belts there.
Right.
You know, yeah. So
no easy rounds.
none. All 10 minutes too. All 10 minutes. We were just talking about that today, right?
I didn't think about that.
And training correctly for each kind of match.
What is your end game?
Getting used to those minutes and knowing, you know, intuitively, like, oh, I got to be 2-3 minutes in now, kind of thing. I got to work this, you know.
And so then that kind of plays into the way the class flows too, though. Honestly, the way that we set up class is typically there's an hour of where there's a warm up period, you know, and then the instruction. That's typically the first hour, and then there's the live training. Is like we've been doing 5-minute rounds, but I don't think I'm gonna boost it up to 6, make 6 5s instead of 5 6s, or 5 6s instead of 6 5s on those nights, because that's a more typical round for people anyway. And I think in my mind, I got kind of stuck on 5-minute rounds because it gave you more rounds, but then that was always the professional MMA round, and so that was what I was kind of conditioned to needing for my pursuits.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And then it got doubled when I switched over to EBI rounds, which was fine because I was okay with like doing 15 minutes for a fight. So 10 minutes wasn't that bad, but just making everything full flow and connect. It's different.
And are they still doing 5-minute fights? Only for white belts, right? At tournaments?
Submission Underground does their 5-minute round in the cage for that, and then it's EBIOT.
Okay.
So
that's mostly 6 minutes.
Mostly 6, like in PGF, Brandon's doing 6-minute matches in those. And so now we're actually dabbling with the idea of maybe turning the Mid-South from the full EBI format into a mini like PGF day, kind of like we did when
down in Florida,
like Isaac competed at Fort Myers, where everybody shows up and then everybody gets a chance to touch everybody, instead of like you show up and you get the first guy the first round and you may be number 2, which it really doesn't matter to be a number 2, I guess, but it still would be cool to have more matches.
It just makes it more fun.
Well, that's saying it's like you don't just come in and lose to the best guy right away and then have to go home with no real experience except for you got clipped.
Yeah.
But then if you get to go with everybody else, then maybe you get more looks. You may end up getting more shots and winning more matches, or maybe you lose every match.
Yeah.
And then you really have some stuff to go home and evaluate on.
That's what I like about Grappling Industries. They have that round robin format.
Yeah, and so that's basically
when you sign up,
same idea.
Yeah, when you sign up, you're guaranteed at least a couple of matches, and
so
that really entices people not to just sign up.
What's a good number of matches?
I mean,
3 at least.
But that's what I mean.
But
but you need at least 6 or so to do a good bracket.
I think 4 gives you 3 matches. That gives you 3 with one with everybody, right? 4 people.
4, yes. 3. Yeah.
So, but you're
6 and 5.
You're hoping that 4 people show up in your bracket, and sometimes that's not always the case, especially for women.
Well, so what we're thinking about though
exactly,
is making it but then instead of like the Grappling Industries being on the Naga, like kind of idea where there's 12 mats or whatever, we're talking about doing it with 1 mat, kind of like an EBI style show.
Very cool.
And then making it like 170s. We're going to get the 6 guys that want to show up or whatever. And then the winner of this 6-person round robin based on the PGF scoring, which is the 6 for the kills, 3 for the break, and then the 1 minute extra point thing. Whoever that is will get the $1,000 win cash prize. And just do like maybe 2 weight classes at that, or a different belt rank at that to start feeding up towards, because I'm a believer in that style of the PGF. The more I've been around it, I really like it's exciting. It's super. It makes it exciting.
I mean, that whole PGF was the second season. Even the first season was great, but the second season
they're just getting better at it.
So much amazing things to it, and the production quality was obviously, they
we're getting better at that too.
Up at that, you know. So shout out, by the way, to the PGF if you haven't watched any of those matches. It's all free on YouTube, so definitely check it out.
Brandon MC.Ninja. And so we're pretty tied into that basically because I was in the season and now with him going and doing all these qualifiers and trying to get into the next season. So we're in and around it a lot. And the more that I've seen it, the more that we've kind of played with it a lot. I like it because it forces the action in a way. And I think you should be credited more for like a choke than you should for a break. And I think that if you kill somebody in the first minute, it should be a higher point. If we're gonna and then oh man, it was always disappointing to only get one match in when you prepare so hard. And like I was always sad about that with MMA too. That was one of the things that led to some depression, like truly depression from MMA was like you'd have a bad result in a fight, and then it's so long before you could rebound.
Right.
And then, but you would need that long time
for sure.
But that's what I mean. Like that's what I mean
about not getting punched in the face.
Right. No, but you would want a chance to redeem yourself, sort of, or but then you
or show that you still
exactly. And so that's one of the and that's another reason that I'm pushing jiu-jitsu hard as competition. And the reason we're trying to put money in the hands of athletes so that maybe everybody doesn't want to go out and get punched in the head and they can come in and spend that good energy on jiu-jitsu matches and bring that passion and bring that fire to jiu-jitsu. You don't have to get hit in the head. I mean, if you want to, you can, then that's fine. There's a lot of people that want to do MMA and I'm not hating. I did MMA. I'm not hating on it, but I really love jiu-jitsu. And I think that the vibe of a jiu-jitsu tournament and competition is so much different than that of MMA because the consequences aren't so dire right away. Like you can get a concussion, but the odds are of someone like knocking you out are way lower.
So going against Wagner.
Yeah, but still, even then it's not that hot. Like he's like TKO'd people or like to overwhelming. Just kind of overwhelms people more than like knocks them out, which is still that's great. That's what I'm saying. Like, but it's not the same as someone like throwing like rocks at your head that are casted and knees and elbows and different things like that. So it's just different. And I think that for the broader public, I would like to see jiu-jitsu blow up somehow. And I think if we can get this format over, I think it would if we can make a like and Brandon said this too, but like it's the Professional Grappling Federation, and so we could be the Mid-South, like the wrestling territories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we can get the Mid-South champions to go up against the Jacksonville champions, like kind of like they're doing with the qualifiers or whatever, but actually start doing like shows around the country, and maybe the Mid-South does whatever we do, and then someone else takes on. It's
almost like catch wrestling is catching back on.
So it's right, like the Carney field kind of, but we're going around and traveling and doing the circus route with everybody. Who's your best guy? Like, the best guy in your city goes against the best guy from each city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be a black belt. It could be a blue belt that may have won the day that gets to come and represent.
He's tough, yeah.
Because he's hard to kill. And he gets through and wins on a couple people. And then the black belt has I had a hard match with a blue belt and PGF Evan that I didn't get points on, I did really good in the match, but the fact that I got 0 points really soured the day, and in other formats, I would have probably won on points or gotten to OT and been able to like win on ride time or something like that, even if I didn't submit him. So it would have been a win, not a 0, which felt like a loss.
But we wouldn't have got the action like in your match where you had to finish in that last second.
I wouldn't have been as hard. He wouldn't have been. Like, that's what I'm saying.
That creates the inverse as well.
When I was there, it made me very uncomfortable, and I was unsure because I was uncomfortable and my confidence was a little bit lacking. But as a fan, I love the entertainment side of that part of it. For me as a competitor, it was really hard to push that way and to change my game to fit that mode. But I would love to build a group of guys that can do it, and help put my energy towards that. And I think that that's where we're going after we do this weekend's Mid-South, which is on this channel, actually on YouTube here. It's going to be live at 1:00. We got a 185 open rank bracket that's got some dope guys in it. Chase Hanna, Matt Elkins is going to be in there. Wyatt Montgomery,
Reveal,
BJ Webb. There's a couple other guys, Michael Clark from 10th Planet Jacksonville, Kevin Sherrill from 10th Planet Atlanta. So there's, we got some names. Throwing in one of my white belts in there, Seth, my guy. He's a glutton for punishment, and he's lost a bunch of weight, healthy to do it. And we needed a guy. And it's like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna let you go out there and get the hand of God put down on you.
Seth just commented. He said Seth
love
commented pitching tents worldwide.
Let's go.
Hey,
Let's
yo.
go. This is how it starts for some people. You know, we need somebody. He's willing to fill the gap, and that's one of the things we talked about. We needed somebody.
Loyal soldiers too, man.
He's willing to go out there and do it, and he's tough. You know, he's going to be outgunned by literally every other dude in the bracket, and that's okay.
So he's got nothing to fear then.
No,
nothing
he
to
knows.
lose,
He
man.
knows he's making the
Yeah.
walk. He knows he's outmanned. He knows he's outgunned, and that's why it's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let everybody do it. Like, you know, he's one of the, like he's the kind of person that I would let do it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Some people would ask, and they would be like, "No, this isn't the one for you." And that's not about winning and losing, right? It's not about it's experience.
If you don't know Seth, that's a huge stamp of approval, by the way. If you haven't figured that
So
one
he
out.
knows.
Yeah.
He knows what I think.
Yeah. I'm sure he does.
Because I wouldn't let people. I don't let people do things I don't think that they can handle.
What do you worry more about? Somebody's physicality or the mentality
Their
after
mind.
something?
Their
like
mind.
that?
Yeah, it's all in your head.
Yeah,
Well,
you can heal. You can heal from your physical injury.
If his
you
mind
know,
is
just
right, he
can't
won't
heal
get
from
hurt.
that. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, but
Like-
you can't heal from that. Like,
Yeah.
if broken spirit.
He won't.
you
Yeah,
know?
his spirit won't be
Yeah,
broken.
yeah.
And I think somebody else asked that on. I saw an Instagram post that kind of asked that. What's more important, if someone gets broken, your spirit or your heart? Spirit.
Uh-huh.
It's
Spirit.
always spirit.
Yeah, spirit.
My
for
heart
sure.
gets broken. That fires me up.
Yeah.
I saw what you
Don't
said.
break
Yeah.
my heart.
Yeah.
That in that Grapplers for Grapplers group is where you said, I said, like, what was your worst injury from jiu-jitsu? And everybody was like knee, back,
They were talking- yeah.
whatever, and you were like, my heart.
It's a broken heart. That was the worst. That was the
Yeah,
worst.
yeah.
Is when it's broken my heart.
Hearts heal. Spirits rarely come back together. Man.
Yeah, I've never had my spirit broken, and I think that's why we're sitting here now with you guys, and same, you know, for most of you, that's why you're sitting here now too, doing this. But yeah, so Seth's gonna jump in there with those killers, and he's just gonna roll the dice, and maybe he comes out there and stunts on some people or whatever, and pulls it out, because that's what happens sometimes. People get the opportunity, you know, whatever. He wants to do it. He's wanted to do it. He asked me to do it the first time I mentioned the bracket at all.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no.
That whole experience is just gonna make them better anyway.
It already has.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it already has.
For sure.
At this point.
He grew a little bit just yesterday.
He was like 230 something probably when he signed up.
Woke up at 185 this morning.
And he's only been training for less than a
Damn.
year, right at a year total with us. You
Wow.
know, he's a 30-year-old guy. Just really wants it, man. He really wants it. So
For real.
I like to help people that like to help themselves, and he's proven that at this point. So yeah, you want to go out there and do it? Let's do it. We'll figure it out. If we would have had the full bracket, I probably would have not wanted him to go out there and do it. But we need a guy, so that's
gangster.
Like, if being available is how you get the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so if somebody asks you to do something and you say no, then they may not ask you again.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of thing is real. And making the walk and not being afraid, or making the walk while you're afraid, is honestly the biggest thing. Like, just not being afraid to do that. Like, you are scared. You have to be to know, you know, to know what you're going against.
Yeah.
But then choosing to do it scared,
Yeah.
that's what makes like real G's. It's like, if you're scared and you stay home, then that's not gangster. You know,
Yeah. You can't
know what
prove
I
that
mean?
you're a G.
Like, I've been scared. I've been
sitting in
scared
the room.
a lot. Like, you were there with me in the PGF, and it was like all nerves,
Oh, yeah.
all nerve.
I don't
bro.
think I've ever had a match where I don't feel some sort of fear.
And we talked about it, like some with some of the guys this morning with you, like during my struggle times at San Diego. You were there. You saw me when it was parking lot crying day, you know, and you're picking up the pieces, wondering if you're ever going to be good enough and stuff like that. And I was a brown belt, and I was like one of the best guys in the room most days, and I still questioned myself some days. Just like the wrong person showed up on the wrong day for me, and my feelings were hurt. You know, and so that's the thing. I think that's the course. I think for anyone though, that you have to go through that, and so there were days that I would literally just get wrecked, and I would have to show up the next day, or there was no way I would be able to sit here in the position I'm in now. Boogie wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me have what I have now if I didn't choose to make the walks that I made. You know, and I never got the world title. Like we were talking about that too. Like, you know, I never won like a major title or anything like that either, but I always made the walk.
Yeah.
Always made the walk. Always represented.
For sure.
I'm always down to represent. And I still will. Like, and that's the thing I say to people too all the time, is like, I just don't want to do all that stuff anymore. But like, I'll do it once if you make me. And it's not going to be fun then for either one of us.
No, for sure.
Like, if I have to.
For sure.
but I like competing for fun. I like, the funsies of it all, but I don't really need to go out there and like beat people up anymore
Right.
to feel superior, because I know that's not necessarily what is the superior man.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
You feel the same the day after both.
yes.
Really?
Nope, and nobody else
Really?
cares.
Really?
Nobody else
Yeah,
cares either.
nobody cares about your little tournament, your little medal.
But then, like,
I don't know. I don't know.
but
I've
it's like we talk
experienced
about
something different.
building,
Oh, really?
but like
Yeah.
building new things though. Like
Yeah.
you accomplish your goal. Now you want the next goal.
Okay.
And so even like you do feel accomplished and you're proud, like you proud you beat the tough guy, but now you want to beat the next tough guy. He's not the final boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's another guy.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
then once
for
you
sure.
beat that guy, like you want to
Who's
beat. So
next?
I'm
Yeah.
trying to beat all these coaches now.
Yeah.
I want to beat the coaches. I want to catch up and pass everybody's coach. I want to out coach or coach everybody.
Word.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Like I do. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, and I don't know if I'm doing it right. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's how I'm gonna do it though.
What's your experience, Pete? You said you had different.
Oh,
experience.
just I feel like I feel changed after a match.
Okay, okay, yeah, I get that.
I definitely feel.
But that's
Not,
personal.
no, yeah, no. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
whether it's win or lose, it's always different feelings, And I feel like the one thing that we do share is no matter what the outcome is always going to end up in motivation to do something more. You know what I mean?
For sure, sure.
And I feel like
it can't be outcome based.
It sucks to say it, but my losses have motivated me. It's obvious though, that it would, but my losses have definitely motivated me more than my wins ever have.
Definitely. And so that's what I mean though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the path to certain greatnesses is a bunch of winning. Maybe that the path to some sorts of greatness is hardship.
Yeah, absolutely. And the inverse of that is I'm always most hard on myself when I win. Like I feel like I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I had an opportunity to hit this thing.
But then are you being a joy thief to yourself?
Probably sometimes. Probably.
And that's one of the things that I think I struggled with, and why I go so hard now the other way. It's because I was a real joy thief to myself during my MMA career, because I never knew that I was going to be able to win. Like I don't think I had like one fight, maybe two, that I felt like I'm going to win, and one of those I lost because I felt that way. The other guy I smashed because I had already lost the other one previous.
Sure.
For feeling, feeling that. And so I'd never liked going in the heavy favorite.
Yeah.
Which is why I lost some.
No, I always like being the underdog for sure. It's much less pressure that way.
So I don't know, man. You got to make those walks. You got to make the walks where you're scared. If you go out there and you don't have that little bit of fear, if you don't have that like pit in your stomach, if you're not tasting a little something funny in your mouth, or I don't think it's worth doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm saying is like
I even feel like that. Like that's kind of what I'm talking about. Even after I win, I feel like I got to still have that little shitty taste in my mouth just to like keep pushing myself. Like the fire burns hotter when I've got a little bit of
it's hard.
You know what I mean?
And that's why it's hard to stay champion.
And I don't even know what it's like to be like winning something and be completely 100% happy. Because I think if I was like that, it would just feel like, oh, okay, I've reached this. I don't want to feel like I've done. Right? I reached my goal and onto something else. I don't ever want to feel that way about jiu-jitsu. So I guess I keep my little angst here. Turned up just a little bit.
You need a little bit, right? Yeah. I think that's what makes certain people tick, is that everybody's kind of fighting a certain battle. And that's what I was saying. I think that's why you see people not stay champion for a long periods anymore, because they've gotten out of that hardship that they were in, and now the comfort is hard to get out of because you've never really experienced it. So you want to stay in that, but then the only way to get the comfort is to go back out into that discomfort truly. Like you got to go back into it like full on, but it's hard to now because you know what it tastes like, on the other side. And so you can't really throw yourself back fully into it.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens to a lot of champions. It's interesting. And so like I think that's why I say sometimes like the best coaches aren't always champions. A lot of the guys I know that are some of the best coaches didn't win a bunch of medals and matches and world titles and different things like that. They competed and won things. They won matches. They won smaller level things or whatever because they got their practices in, but not everyone won in EBI or in IBJJF Worlds or ADCC or ADCC trials. You know,
Right.
not everyone even had that
Yeah,
experience.
I think we just think those things are synonymous. You know, you're a champion, you must be a great coach, a great person, a great this, a great that. You know, some things don't translate.
A lot of
You
yeah,
know,
and I don't want to throw sweeping generalizations out there, but some of the best athletes are just not
not
good
great
people.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, like, and
yeah,
that's just because they have to be selfish to be at the top like that. You
absolutely.
have to step on people sometimes to get to the top of some of those things, and you got to take from people that you may not want to take from sometimes because if you don't, they're going to take from you.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and that's the nature of competition.
Hmm.
You know, but that's not always jujitsu,
No,
right? And so in the training room, you're always given, and I think that's what the thing is. You're always giving people something. Like they get to take something with them every time they come, and I think that's the best that you can do as a teammate and as a coach, and build the room up to where everybody wants to give somebody something to take with them, and it's not always an ass whooping, but
uh-huh.
sometimes it is.
Uh,
You know, sometimes that's what they need to take with them, but it doesn't always have to be that.
yeah,
You know, usually you want them to. I want you to tell them what they don't know.
uh-huh.
Like I don't care. I don't mind people helping each other understand things that they don't understand. Like
Right.
because I don't want to sit there and explain everything every time always either. Because I need to go explain to someone else something
For
else,
sure.
right? So
For
yeah,
sure.
that explanation will do for now, and I can come back and fill in the gaps later stuff.
You know, being a teacher, you're kind of forced to like meet this expectation daily. You know, you don't have any days off from
For sure.
having to be that person for everybody. So
Yeah, that's an interesting task, and some days I do just try to like disconnect from it and put it away and turn it off, and like you have to though.
you
Or
have to,
you're fully consumed, and then you'll start getting bitter and you'll hate it or whatever. And
for
I've seen
sure.
guys do that they overcommit, and then they do too much, and then they end up hating it or themselves for that, like for doing too much. You know, they
Mhm.
start doubting, did that, was it worth it or whatever. But you know, that's always up to you if it was worth it or not.
Exactly.
I think the choice of is something worth it is totally always in your mind.
Mhm.
Like whatever somebody else says is worth it, that's always the argument, right?
Yeah.
What you value something that I may not value it at, and that could be like a good or a service or a thought. You know, whatever that is, you get to make your own decision on what that is.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think that's the path to greatness through jiu-jitsu that we find a lot of times, is that it's not about right and wrong. A lot of times it's about just doing it, like doing the thing, doing the walking the path.
Mhm.
And then sometimes you got to cut the path for yourself. Sometimes nobody's actually walked the path that you need to make.
Sure.
But then once you make the path, other people can start following that path.
Yes.
Does that mean you want to be a role model? No.
Mhm.
Right? Does that mean you need to be a role model? No.
Mhm.
Not necessarily, but that means that you will be for some people.
Yeah.
And
It's
sometimes
inevitable.
some people will see your struggle, and then they'll come through based on, you know, knowing that they can do it too because of you, or you know that you may have had it harder than them in some way, so you can, you know, they think that now they can do better because of that, or I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different ways that this thing is really starting to help people, and like being the top looking down now a lot on everything. It's kind of crazy. And then talking to you, like some of the conversations we had back before, now I understand why some of that was going down. That I
Mhm.
didn't, the things I didn't
Sure.
understand,
Sure.
I understand it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now I'm in charge.
Yeah. You're wearing the
Yeah,
shoes.
now
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
This is why certain people have to go and some people need to come, and this is why I don't have time for that. And this, you know, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of reasons
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just, you know, because I'm an asshole.
Uh-huh.
It's cool. It's cool to see it, but it's definitely a hustle.
Uh-huh.
It's a hustle, and it's multiple hustles.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just technique. But that's the cool thing too. Like I said, having other people coming in with fresh eyes and new ideas to come in and keep people going, and to give me motivation and new ideas, and to keep me going. Like I don't ever want to just like know it all,
Yeah.
or act like I know it all.
For sure.
I want to bring in people, even if they don't rank as high as I do, with new ideas that I can kind of try to play around with. And some people are definitely better at other things than I am, based on their experience. Like this week, we had Sierra Goodwin in from 10th Planet Decatur. She's a purple belt. under Brandon. And she just ran us through some very basic leg lock flows to her, but to some of our people, and to me, it was more than I could like get through a little bit at first because of mostly my knee, and it was really sore after we did all that stuff. But like it was just different than what they had been exposed to, and so now everybody's kind of been exposed to that, and I could see like some light bulbs going off in some people's eyes in different places. And then, like for her, I'm sure it was a good experience to get to share some of her stuff. And like she did a great job, I think, relaying the information. So I like that. I like the idea of people coming in with their own opinion, and then letting them have it. Like, have their opinion.
I mean, you know my past. It's super important, I think, to have many hands in your experience. And if you got a coach telling you not to go train somewhere, I guess there should be a specific reason, like that person is a bad person, or their gym is not a great gym, or you might get hurt there. But I don't want to hear anybody telling me I can't train there just because I'm a part of one team. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I just to brush on it, I was part of a key school, for the first 2 years of my training. And then I was asked to leave because I went on holiday. I went on holiday and trained at a few different places. That means vacation.
For you Americans.
But it's funny, the mentality of some people, because when I leave San Diego, Boogie always tells me, keep training. But he never tells me where or how or when or whatever.
Just keep doing it.
Just keep training, so.
Just jujitsu. Not that you have to just train it, but just keep doing it. Just keep showing.
Just keep your art, practiced and solid, and, keep training. Wherever it is, however it is, just get your rounds in.
Yeah. And, different strokes for different folks. Different coaches are going to make other people tick, And I don't want a bunch of Steven clones everywhere. That would be boring and annoying.
And it doesn't help anybody in your school either.
Right. Some people are. Right. Some people are going to be heavily influenced by me, and they're going to grapple a lot like I grapple, even if they're not my size. They're going to have a lot of the same like intuitive plays because they've spent so much time sitting down with me and like earlier on, like especially some of the new, like the beginning squad for sure. A lot of them are going to carry a lot of my style and influence more because we spent so much time together.
Yeah.
But as we grow, and there's other coaches added to the staff, and some of the students now get higher ranks and stuff like that, they're going to be influencing more of the ideas more than I will for everyone. Definitely. So it won't, some of the guys still will have my style, but some of them will, for instance, have like my guy Zach's style, who's my first blue belt or whatever. He helps already teach a lot of people stuff that's filling in gaps that they don't quite have because they weren't here yet, or because they missed a class, because he doesn't miss any classes really. Unless I tell him to stay home,
right?
And I have to, I have to make him stay home and sit down, or like sit on the side of the mat and watch instead, because he'll overwork himself. He's overly dedicated to the cause. But I appreciate that, so I don't I never try to tell him to just stay away. But sometimes you have to. But I let him share information with people, and I'm not always sure what he's saying, but I know that he pays attention. And I've heard him say stuff a lot of times, and it's almost exactly what I would say now because he's heard it a lot of times.
Sure.
But at the same time, he's dabbling in his own things that he likes that I don't like. Hurt for me, you know what I mean? And so I'm trashing him.
Sure.
And when he brings that stuff to me that he doesn't understand, I trash him because I want him to double down on trying to understand it.
If he believes it, like you make him dig down into
show
it.
me.
Boogie does that
show
to
me.
me.
And so that's one of those things I mean, though. Like I used to wonder why Boogie would be so hard on me about some things. And I think it was just because like, just show me. Like, don't, okay. He's like, that move sucks. And so I would like triple down on hitting everybody in the room with it. And any visitors that came in from places, I would try to stun on them with the moves or whatever that he would say. Like, and Danny Bowl, I hope you're watching. I used to do stuff to you a lot because I know that you were one of the better guys. So I would come after Danny and try to get him, because Danny was one of the better guys in the room. And if I could pull it off on Danny, then I knew that I was hitting it at a high level then, right?
Yep.
So that's what I mean. Sometimes that friction will make you want to like get to the next level. It can't always be like a heavy hand and be rough on you, but sometimes you just need to know.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know if I'm sure or not. It's like, well, then you're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know if you're sure, then you're not sure.
Yeah.
So you need to go back.
But you encourage him to keep working it. I like that.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know,
care.
don't
I
give
don't.
up on
Yeah,
it,
I want
you
them.
know?
I want you to have your own passions.
Yeah.
This is art.
Yeah.
This is an art, and that's one of the biggest things I took from San Diego. I think more than anything else, like this is my art form. It doesn't have to be what anybody else says it is, and nobody else can tell me what mine has to be.
Mm.
Mine can be mine. It's mine.
Mm.
This is mine.
Mm.
I can teach you a class on building. I don't know what's like pottery. I could teach you a class on pottery.
You build pottery.
I don't know. Let's say potting. I can pot
Sorry,
you.
I just got.
I don't know. I was trying to think
hung
of
up on
I got,
that.
yeah. Sorry, man. I'm no teacher of anything except for like jujitsu and some like philosophy that I make up based on my own stuff I listen to. Right. But I think
Isn't
that's
that what philosophy is?
Shh.
Sorry.
What was I talking about before that? Building pottery.
Building pottery. Yeah.
So when you start stacking up your pottery, yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine, but it'll still like hold some flowers or something like that. And you know, you may not want the same flowers in your garden that I may want for different reasons. You may like to look at different things for different you know. And so I look at jiu-jitsu that way. People need to solve different puzzles than I need to solve. Yeah. But sometimes we can scale body types, like short people can kind of get with my style because I'm kind of short for the weight that I'm at. And then longer people can kind of get with other people's style because they're longer, even though they could be smaller or bigger. You know, and that's one of the things I kind of referenced a lot was like Gabe with Richie. Even though there's, you know, like 40 pounds or whatever difference in them a lot of times, Gabe is a really long and lanky style grappler for his weight class.
Yes.
So that's why their styles like just that's why Gabe took to it so well under him. And it's, you know what I mean? It's things like that. I think people overlook the attributes of their coach as much as they do. You know, sometimes the person that you attach to is going to be more attribute based if you're a competitor. If you're not necessarily looking at the competition scene, then the philosophy guy may be who you're looking into more. Sure, you know, so like that there's different strokes, you know, and different reasons you'll need people.
All different kinds.
Some coaches are like the rah-rah kind of leader. They get the troops fired up and rally everybody to get in there and work hard and different things like that. And then some people are the one that's like, all right, everybody, let's just chill out. Let's get focused. Let's do, you know what I mean? And neither one of those guys are wrong. I've seen great success in both rooms, you know, and I find success at different times with both kinds of coaching. So I would like to have people with different ideas in there that are strong-willed enough to tell me what they think. Absolutely. And not shy away from standing up for themselves when they think that they know something. Like, just go tell me. Like, just, you know, if this is what you like, why? And if you can't explain me down, then I may not believe you. You don't have to beat me up. Like your move doesn't have to quite work on me because I know I'm big and strong and I'm a black belt and all those kind of things or whatever people want to say. But if you can explain me away, then I'll give it to you. Yeah. You know, and you got to be confident to do that. And if you're not confident, then you can't explain yourself. And then it seems like you don't know what you're talking about.
There's some people I give a pass on that too, and that's the show me people. Like if you can show me, some people can't talk their way into an understanding of whatever it is.
But I guess that's
at least get out.
If you can, but that's the same thing. I guess I mean, like if you can just show, like, explain it to me in motion or whatever. Like yeah, exactly.
Whether it's words or
you don't have to like we don't have to sit here like this and understand it because that could be hard. And I'm the show me guy. Yeah. Like that's what I mean. Yeah. Like explain, like get Isaac over here. Yeah. And then let's do it.
Yeah. I'm always a bit of the middle.
Because I don't necessarily want to feel it from you either.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's a different thing. I want to see you do it and talk about what you're doing. I am switching my grip because when I do that, he might. And if he, then I and if that sounds solid, it's like, that checks out. And then, you know, sometimes I might be like, but then I, you know, and this is what happens to me sometimes. Somebody be like, well, why wouldn't you just that? And it's like, oh man, I wasted a lot of time, huh? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to start trying that thing now.
B-Max does that a lot to me.
He does that to me too. You know? And that's what I mean. Like there's guys out there that teach me things. Yeah. And that's cool. Like I don't try to act like I know everything. But sometimes when I'm teaching, I have to like you have to just trust me. You have to go with what I know, like because I'm your coach, and so when you're in my room, do what I'm asking you to do. And if you want me to be your coach, then you got to follow my lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you disagree with me sometimes, that's okay. You can disagree, but the overall things have to kind of be what they got to be. You got to do what I ask you to do, or you won't ever get to the promised land.
Yeah.
You know,
for all of us.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like in every room,
Yeah.
right? You know, and that's when you start getting a little bit culty, right?
Have you heard of our Lord and Savior?
Gracie Baja.
You want to get to
Carlos
the promised
Jr.
land. You know, I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm just wandering through the desert. I can give you rest if you come to 10th Planet Perry. But I don't know. I'm glad to have you here, and I'm glad to see you, and or I'm excited to see in the next 2 weeks, I guess, that you're here still. What like stuff blossoms, because we went to Tifton yesterday, and I went ahead and I threw away the legs on them already. Like I was like, all right, you thought you knew something. Now we're gonna do it with no legs today. They were, you know, they got a great lesson out of it though, because you
100%.
learn about the arm
details.
weaves
Yeah.
and things that you might miss because you can squeeze them with your lower body. Or how do you control a guy with no legs if he gets his arms in? Like when we were talking about with Sierra, and you were like, I would do this, and we were both like, oh yeah, I would totally head and arm you. And then as we both tried to do it, you just kind of scooted right out, and I was like, okay, well, maybe not. And that's just like, that's what's like, I love that. I love that you create new problems that need to be solved. And then if we can solve the problems that you create, then we shut down issues of other people much easier.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think the most that I usually have to offer people is like the conceptual thought process.
But that's what that's the
it's
point.
just like I can't always teach you how to do the thing correctly, right? But I can teach you the why of what I do that might, you know, intuitively give you an idea of what to do in a certain place with your legs that
but I was about to say, even today, that's what I was about to say, like today, even with the leg lock stuff at 6 a.m. class, I saw you going around with some of the groups and explaining some of what they weren't getting right.
Yeah.
And not that you were able to get the Ashergarami in there. You were able to explain what they needed.
Yeah, no, and that comes from the thing that me and Sierra talked about, you know, during her class there, was that, you know, we're very heavily detail oriented, you know, and because she explains the details so well, it's easy for someone like me who's been doing jiu-jitsu for a while to just be like, I know what the important details are in this sequence, and you're not doing them right. So the minute that you correct those, you
level up,
blow people's minds, man, you know. So, and that's what was going on today with those guys from Tifton, you know. They were just, and they were getting their minds blown.
They're new though. They're new to it for the most part,
tiny
right?
Details, man.
They're new to it.
They're
a couple of those guys are brand new. Like this is their first or second month.
Okay.
Right. So that for them, it was just like, whoa. And but that's the good stuff, right? You're giving stuff to somebody they never had.
Yeah, I love those
you just gave this gift to someone that they were just like, oh wow.
And they think about that shit,
and they're
all
gonna
day,
have it, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that was super cool. Yeah, and like you said, like you need to know. I think as a good coach, you need to know your systems and what you're doing. You need to understand where you're going with certain things. Like you can free ball some stuff. That's fun. Like you can kind of leave. I like to leave stuff open ended once we've laid down a few systems. Like we can do this. You can kind of choose your own adventure along this path, but we're gonna stay within this kind of, you know, this certain realm for today.
Yep.
Now later on, you can always choose your own adventure when you're rolling and you're competing or whatever. It's up to you to decide. But when someone's coaching you or whatever, a lot of times you need that strategy, you need the structure, you need the why, you need to know the system based approach to it, and it doesn't have to be the same system everybody else does, but it has to be your system.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what makes it unique, and that's what I like. It's like I learned this from such and such, but this is my interpretation of the X Pass or whatever, or the Dars. This is like, you know, I learned the Dars from Boogie more than anyone else. But again, body types. He's got really long arms. He's skinny and lanky. I got to do it a little bit differently than he does it. So my take is going to be a little bit different than his take. he is more high level than me at the dart, so he understands more of what he's doing than I do too. Still,
Sure.
because he's done it more. So I defer to his knowledge base on dart stuff
Of
by
course.
just tons. But I think that there's other things that I probably understand quite a bit better than he does. Jiu-jitsu based, he's just never had to really deal with because he's too dynamic.
But also important for you as a coach to be able to not be in a position where you tell a student, like, I don't know how to do this, or you're gonna have to go talk to this guy. You know, like I feel I don't mind sending other people, better people to teach my students. What I'm saying is to be able to be put in a position where you're just like, I don't know this. You know? I think that to me as a coach, that would be detriment. That would be detriment. And if that ever happened to me, I would go and correct that mistake. So at least I have like a basis of knowledge just to be able to go, you know, there are other people out there better for you to teach you this, but I'm going to teach you what I know just to give you some knowledge. And then if it fits with you, you know, and you like what you're doing, go to this person or go to that person, because they're so much better than.
Well, this is why I was saying though, having a room with different coaching people, like it's people who would accentuate your style, not a bunch of clones. You don't want everybody doing the same thing. I want to get someone in that is really good at leg locks, because I understand it, but doing it is not my thing. Like I've just not been, because I've had a bad right knee for the last 6 or 7 years, and I can get out of the first bite, but the second bite a lot of times I'm in trouble. So, you know,
not playing in those situations must give you like a little.
It's a disadvantage,
less confidence, and
I don't understand the way that it feels all the time. You know. And then like going through some of those drills this week, like my knee was in killer pain going through some of the drills that were necessary to go through the flow, you know?
Right.
And so some of that's now I'm going to have to double down, because like you said, I don't like that feeling. I do need to, am I ever going to do this at a high level? No, but I'm going to understand it at a high level. I've realized a new deficiency, and that is something, it's correctable though. The information that we picked up this week is not insurmountable.
No.
Doing it is not insurmountable. It's just going to take some time now to sit down with it and be on, like, and you have to be honest though, and say that you don't know. And I think that it's important to say you don't know.
For sure.
Because not everyone knows everything. And I think if you always have an answer for somebody though, I think that's not being true.
No.
So I think you have to say you don't know.
But exactly. You have to be humble in your approach to the situation.
I think there's a lot of people that don't know that will throw you out an answer to appear to know. So that's why I say I would rather have the coach that says he doesn't know,
for sure,
than the guy that always has an answer. Because sometimes they're a charlatan.
Yeah, exactly. But the fear to me to be, you know, saying
that's the anxiety side for sure. It's an anxiety thing that I have too, for sure. Yeah. That's why I keep learning.
Yeah, exactly. And then I mean, that's part of the mentality of constantly learning, constantly wanting to learn, constantly wanting to be better at your art.
I take correction.
Yeah.
I take correction from people. When somebody gives me a correction, I don't immediately tell them I'm a black belt. I've seen that, you know.
Even like my way works better.
Not like always.
Just try it. Just try doing it another way. Maybe you get something out of it, you know.
Yeah, and just because you've been successful with something before, maybe you haven't been successful enough. Maybe you've lost other opportunities and you don't realize it. Like, but you're only excited about the times that it worked, so you're like you believe in it. But that's that emotional learning stuff. You know, you hit this bad move. This technically, like, it's not the right move, but you hit it on someone in a competition, and you're like, "That's my shit."
Why are you looking at me when you said?
And then you just keep going for it. Because you looked at me.
What were you doing?
It felt like you felt something. I don't know. But are you that guy? I've been that guy.
Oh, I'm always that guy.
I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with exploring and experimenting. But once you hit something live and it wins and it scores for you or whatever, it becomes your thing. And then sometimes that thing could be better. But you're like, oh, no, I've beaten people in competition with this. It's like, but it's still not as good as it can be.
Sure.
But people tap to it. But it's still, you could do it easier, maybe. Or there's less steps, or you can skip some of those steps that you're doing and get better people with it. You know, I don't know. I do know that I don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know either, though.
Yeah.
So there's deficiencies in everyone's game. No one is good as is very good at everything. Everyone has passing, or they're good at back, or they're good at leg locks, or they're good at guard play. They're good at rover guard. They have a good lockdown. They have 3 or 4 guards that they're really good at. Everybody's not good and really good at every guard.
Mm-hmm.
They can teach it, but they don't ever play every guard system that they know. You don't need it. You just don't need it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Jean-Jacques is like, he says that the more that you know, the less that you use.
For sure.
Because you've learned which ones don't work that well. Like, it's cool. It can work. That does work. It will work, but not as much as this thing does. Yeah. And this thing may not be as cool looking, but if you take out those 32 handoffs, you'll find more success getting, like, just don't waste so much time chasing the moves that don't pop up a lot.
Absolutely.
Go for the 80. You know what I mean? Stay in that 80 range instead of just always spending time in that 20 range. You're trying to make like a one-trick shot thing. Because if you build your game offensively only at first, there's going to be holes once you start getting the purple and brown belt. And those guys, they have game against you. They can defend you and then counter you, and you don't have the solid fundamental defense stuff. You're going to get exposed for a while. And that hurts your feelings, because you're used to submitting everybody.
Talking about something that reminded me of one of the biggest compliments and insults I ever got in jiu-jitsu at the same time was I was matched up against a guy who told me afterwards, he's like, you're good, but you're a technique collector. And like, you're not putting sound jiu-jitsu fundamentals together to create a system of pinning and killing and that kind of thing. You're waiting until you get into your situation.
Would you say you were too much of a wandering grappler, perhaps?
That felt really directed.
Is this your problem?
I don't know what you're saying.
Have you talked to him about this?
Idea.
Too? Honestly, yeah. I think that's kind of what happened to him at the last competition he did.
Sure.
And for whatever, that's what we're doing here. We talk about
help me narrow it down. It helped me narrow down my game.
That's the thing.
That's why I made a post about
we caught him between a couple positions in almost every match, and he was kind of like, I like this, but I almost like this too. And if you almost like two things at once, you don't really like either one of them fully.
Sure.
Right. And when you got to just commit.
I was getting into situations where it was like, oh, okay, I'm in bottom side. I got two things from here, and I'm gonna hit these two things, right? And then when those two things didn't happen, I had nothing else. There was no fundamentals to know, okay, you can do this to create space, and then this space will give you an opportunity to do this, and you can shoot for this thing, and then that opens up a whole world of options. I didn't have that. I was just out there like, kill shot from here, kill shot from here, kill shot from here, and then
that's the neutral position.
Well, this is where I kind of discovered this kind of mantra I have a little bit when I'm rolling is to win neutral positions, and for me, like, making people reset. If they have my back and they're going for an arm bar and I escape and we reset into that back, to me that's a win, because I made you use all that energy just to get back to the position we started from, and even though I'm, in a bad way, you've got my back. I've done enough to keep the energy situation even, you know what I mean? So we're always going to be sucking this life force, or I have to make him transition into another spot. That transition gives me an opening possibly to do something else. You know what I mean? So these neutral battles, for me are always part of my game. I don't necessarily need to win or to pin or to sweep or to do all these things that are necessary in obviously able-bodied situations, matches, sub-only, points, whatever the situation may be. But I'm looking to win neutral battles that set me up into transitions. And then I want to be able to know my transitions, where your body's going to move, where my body's going to move, where I can catch you. And if I can catch you in a transition, the chances of me finishing that are higher than they are if I do the traditional
dig it out.
Yeah. Like, get past your legs, pin your hips, pin your opponent, and then kill them. Like, it's a very difficult process for me. But if I'm winning all these neutral positions, sucking energy, I feel like I can start that fight at some point, that long fight. you know.
Just staying in the fight
Yes.
is the thing, right?
Yes.
Because it's rare that you're able to just dominate someone.
Very rare.
It doesn't happen a lot.
Very rare.
So you have to rely on a technique-based, strategy-based, safety-based approach.
But also a thing where you're making movements and situations where I know the outcome.
Because
I practice
unusual,
the outcome,
but because
it's unusual.
It's not the same outcome.
It's not the same. My body doesn't move the same. So when I escape from positions, it might set me up to do something that you're not aware of, or give me an advantage in a way.
All these gnarly slicers and stuff that you can do.
Right.
Yeah, my shoulder's a little sore this morning. that pure panic that you missed the picture of. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I tried to snap a picture of his face when he was freaking out, trying not to tap out, but he started smiling when I put the camera up.
Shout out to Mike in Oakland for the El Dorado.
El Dorado.
The El Dorado.
Is that Hillebrand?
Hillebrand. Yeah. He taught me that in Dublin.
That's what's up.
Stuff. Yeah.
See, technique collector.
Mm.
But you spent time with it.
But those techniques fit into another part of a chain that I have. So that's
so this is what we need to know from you in the next week. Then
sure,
this is where we need to pick up some stuff. That's what I mean.
Like, it's how did you transition from being a technique collector to someone who had solid?
Just time, analyzing my own game and being honest with myself. Knowing that my deficiencies are such that I have to rep and practice in a different way. I can't just expect each technique to end in a kill. I have to understand the why of it, and then sometimes engineer it in a way that allows me to do these things in a most unfavorable position, and that's never where we're getting taught from. Do you notice that about all the techniques that we do? We are always in the favorable position attacking. There's never really like this is how you get out of this thing and this enters into this. Very rarely do you see those things. Do you know what I mean? And I understand why. I understand why, but
sometimes teaching escapes though, like the personal grab.
I'm not talking about escapes though. Escapes is a different thing. I'm talking about the transitional element of something. So it can start in a neutral position, but the movement flows into a situation where you hit whatever the technique is that you're being practiced. Very rarely do we see like the full effort of the push and pull, and then the entry into the technique, and then the details to the finish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm always working on the first part. I feel like I'm working on the push pull, where that situation will end up and what our bodies are doing movement wise, where they're taking us. The kill shot for me comes way after.
I think for most people that's the case though.
But I mean, like for me, it's after a long analysis of failure. Do you know what I mean? Like getting smushed and really losing out to a lot
longer curve.
Yeah. And that might not even end up resulting in anything as far as kill shots happen, but I've just understood more and more about the transitional element of my jiu-jitsu. So maybe that movement or whatever comes up in a certain spot that I never thought it would. I've repped it already.
You've seen that movement.
I've repped it already.
So it's the concept-based approach.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the why.
And
the filling in the gaps.
Yes.
I went to, and this is a funny thing too, is like we talked about it, but I went to that Ironclad wrestling camp. That was basically for high school wrestling coaches. But one of the biggest like stories I took out of it that as far as like information, it was really cool. It's like if you have these 3 cylinders, with like one has big rocks, medium rocks, and sand, but you got to get them all into one cylinder. What way would you do that? What would be your order of operation to get all of the rocks, sand, the big rocks, medium rocks, and sand all into one thing, right? So we just dumped it all out onto the ground, and you had to get it all into one cylinder. What order of operation would you do? Well, you would start with the big rocks, because if you put the sand in first, everything else would sit on top of the sand, and then they would never fill up. You need to start with the big rocks which is the kazushi or the push pull or the off balance,
Mhm.
whatever the
Mhm.
entry
Mhm.
is, because if you can't enter, then you'll never be there.
Yep.
Right. So that may be the big rocks. And then you put the medium rocks in to fill in some of that gap. Some of those will fall into the bottom space a little bit as you do, and then you'll get some of that down there around your first big rock. And then some of those will be up, what I mean?
Yep.
And then the last thing you would do is the sand. That's the kills.
Yep.
That's what you do. You put that in there last, and it should fill in everything else. There should be kills all around that cylinder. And I made that a jiu-jitsu reference, and
That's
he had
cool.
another kind of reference. But
Yeah.
just the big rocks, medium rocks, and sand reference. You can't build a game from the sand first because it won't all fit.
Yeah.
By the end, you'll have some stuff that'll be left out
For sure.
because you spent so much time on the sand.
Right.
And that's kind of like the Pareto's law that Brandon uses a lot, the 80-20. Like, spend your time on the 80 because you're going to spend 80% of your time entering into and controlling positions,
Mm-hmm.
not finishing.
Right.
So that's where you need to train most of your time. That's why we spend most of the time talking about transition.
Yeah.
Most of the things
I like that.
don't end in a finish.
Yes.
You have to get here to get the finish.
Yes.
Positions and submissions are the same. Like, you can't get a submission without being in the correct position.
Yep.
Right. So it is, to a degree, it is a position before submission, but I think the position creates the submission.
Absolutely.
You have to be there first, obviously. So it is position before submission, but that doesn't mean you have to be static.
Yes.
In a position.
Yes.
Whatever the position may be in the spatial thing, cue to the, astro waves going through the background and me flying through space. But that's how I see it, even though I don't always see it clearly. That's the way I see jiu-jitsu, is that it's just a puzzle that has to fit moving around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it constantly, the pieces have to, it's not like the flat earth puzzle. It's like it's a globe that's constantly
What's that horror
put
movie
back together.
The Cube.
Cube.
You ever seen that
scary
thing?
What is that?
Where it's like all these people locked in this cube and they've got to sort out all these puzzles.
Oh, that's
to get out of the cube.
Sounds horrifying.
Oh, it's on Netflix, isn't it?
It's an old movie.
It's an old movie. Never mind. All right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no.
I think there was a couple of them too. I think there was like at least 2 of them.
Why did I think of Hellraiser though right away when you started thinking?
I don't know.
Did he have like a box or something?
Pinhead?
Yeah.
Yes. Didn't he?
Did he have a box?
I think he had a box.
I think he had a box.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking.
The magic box. Yeah. What's in the box?
That was 7 though. That was 7.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's a twisted movie.
We just went off.
Hey, we totally forgot about the blue belts. I've been reminding myself every 10 minutes that you also have blue belts.
Oh, there's a blue belt 155 tournament at the Mid-South this weekend. We got some great competitors coming up. No, seriously though, there's some really good guys coming up from a couple of the different 10 Planet gyms. A couple of the local gyms are getting some blue belt guys into it. So it's going to be pretty exciting. I think that, like you do, those guys are going to throw down. They're also getting a chance to win $1,000. Right. So we definitely need to shout out the sponsors for sure. Parkway Automotive Studios, Musgrove Trial Firm, 678-226-1994. If you have an accident, you need to call your buddy. He'll get you fixed up. We also have Sheath Underwear. Mid-South saves 20. If you go to their website, it'll give you 20% off. You can get some underwear with like a little pouch in it, so it'll separate you from your legs. You don't get so chafed. Gives a little breezeway there.
It's swampy Georgia nights.
And you felt it now, right? And if you've been hearing me talk about it and you've never been here, you don't know about humidity. I'm telling y'all, I went down to Costa Rica and everybody's like, "Oh, it's not humid like this." I was like, "Bro, we are in it. Like this should be a swamp, but people just like built up land and made farms and like roads through swamps and stuff like that. There's lakes and rivers.
And they get upset when it floods.
It's weird. Strange.
It's weird.
But yeah, so Mid-South saves 20 on Sheath Underwear. You should get a couple pair to check them out and let them know that you came from us. And then if you support them, then they'll keep supporting us. And then we can keep trying to provide this stuff to you guys for free as much as we can, this competition, and giving money to the athletes. That's the sponsorship money that's coming in is going to the athletes right now. We're giving it away.
What you guys are doing is amazing.
They're paying a buy-in to preserve their spot, because it helps keep people accountable. But we add to the pot.
That's great.
You know, and we're trying to continue to figure out ways to enhance that same thing and to make a better experience for the competitors, which by default would create a better experience for the viewers. If the competitors are having fun and they're really into what they're doing and they feel taken care of and they feel excited, they're going to compete better. And so I don't care what belt ranks people are. I like to see people compete. So we're gonna go, you know, with blues and purple belts and stuff because there's a bunch.
Matt Viper.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay. I was gonna let you get there whenever. I was just making sure you didn't forget about it.
You mouthed it, and I was like trying to give you the acknowledgement without
I got
acknowledgement. But yeah, we got Matt Viper is also supplying us with some really dope rash guards. Do you have one of them right here?
It's in the car. I was gonna get you to go rant about it, but I do have it up next to your head right
what
now.
What a guy!
It's up right now next to your head. They can see it if you just point right
This
where
way?
yeah, it's right there.
It's right here. And if he's showing you the front of it, it has a tent.
It's got the back on it and the front.
Oh, okay. So we have two sides. It's a front and a back. No, but thanks to Matt Viper, they made us this dope rash guard that you can see. It's got our sponsors' logos on it and stuff. We're gonna have a very limited number of those for sale starting
It'll
Monday.
be on the website, thewanderinggrappler.com.
Thewanderinggrappler.com. We're gonna do a special drop. We'll talk about it a lot during the Mid-South show this Saturday. If anybody wants to get those, I think they're gonna be what?
$60.
$60. You can order one off of thewanderinggrappler.com, and that'll help support the show, help put money into buying new equipments and getting us traveling around and different stuff like that. Because we really have a lot of ideas and things that we're trying to work on, and I think it'll provide a lot of like interesting content to the community and give other people opportunities to get their shine and different things like that. So thank you to Matt Viper for providing those rash guards to us that we could try to sell and make some money off of a high quality, you know, product to give people also, instead of just asking like for donations and things like that. We're trying to help you guys get some quality stuff. So like with Sheath Underwear, getting 20% off of that, you get some nice underwears and stuff. And then if you buy this rash guard, the Matt Viper rash guards are really, really high quality. That's what we used in the PGF, and that's why I was confident to go with them for our tournament. So definitely check out thewanderinggrappler.com. Is that right?
Yep.
At 9 a.m. probably on Monday morning. I think it's when the official drop is going to be. Once they're gone for this one. We're going to do another special drop for each tournament probably. So be on the lookout for that. We got some creative people that we're working with, trying to be, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to make this thing in art form in many ways, and we're trying to let all the artists express themselves through the jiu-jitsu. And if you know, like the tattoo artists and stuff doing drawings and stuff with jiu-jitsu related stuff, or beautiful art that is, you know, relevant to our sport that would normally be in another medium, you know, stuff like that. We're interested in trying to bring that out there. I know Isaac's working on a magazine that's going to have jiu-jitsu content, but that's going to also have like exclusive art from like some really dope artists that would only be available through the magazine and stuff like that. And this is legit. Like we'll show you. It's RC.
Yeah, RC Hagens.
RC Hagens. Yeah. Check him out, dude. It's like we went to his house and filmed a show when I was over there doing a seminar, and I just wanted to give him all the possible money I could, but I definitely didn't have enough to get any of the stuff I wanted. So like he's got some. It's just crazy.
It's like an Andy Warhol movie.
It is
like when you're walking back through there, like it's pretty wild. Like his house is like this big old blue house in Opelika, and he's one of my first friends that I ever met that was like an artist, and like that's how I make my living.
He's an artist.
I'm an artist.
That's awesome.
And then he's just got years and years and years and years of art piled up.
Amazing.
Dude's also a pretty legit.
He's a grappler
too.
And so I think they're working on some different stuff, and we got some other friends that do drawings and different things that we're trying to figure out how to incorporate. Like let everyone get a look. Like let's do it. Let's create a community of artists through jiu-jitsu.
This is what I think has been missing the most from jiu-jitsu.
That's what we
culture.
Talk about.
A cult, exactly.
We're for the culture. That's the joke that we say. It's for the culture. That's what we say all the time.
Something that's like truly for us, you know, and represents what the new stream of jiu-jitsu is all about. You break away from this old traditional mentality?
It doesn't. If you like that, that's okay.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
We're bringing some new ideas to it,
but
we're trying to get the look, the aesthetic that we like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and we know that people are like us. There's other people like us that would like that. And
some people would try to have you believe that disrespects jiu-jitsu in some way, and I feel the exact opposite. Art is supposed to be expressed personally, you know, Like you truly speak through yourself, through your art. So yeah, I mean, great on you guys, man, for trying to influence and change what's going on here, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, we just want everybody to be able to express themselves because that's what jujitsu has done for me more than anything else. It's like it's given me an avenue to express myself. We were talking about that on the way back from Fort Myers. Like in 6th and 7th grade, I was like the eagle eye newscaster for the middle school news. Like I would sit there and read the middle school news to the school. You know, like this is the kind of stuff that I used to talk about. I would want to be like one of the ESPN guys or whatever back in the days. So like now I'm living those. Like I wanted to be a professional wrestler, so I was a professional grappler. You know, like I'm living now all my little childhood dreams right now, and I'm helping my friends live out their dreams too. Like he wants to document and edit and put people's stories out there. And so thankfully we've met each other and he's helped me put my story out there, which has helped me in my business and gain a not even like a following in a negative way, but like we've had members sign up at the gym based off of the content that they watched on YouTube because they got a real feel for who I was as a person and they really bought into the vibe before they even really stepped into the door to take a class. They could see and feel like the vibe was real, that it's genuine, and that they would probably fit into there. Yeah. And I'm sure there's been some people that probably saw and was like, hey, I'm not going to go there. Sure. So then we didn't have to worry about dealing with somebody else that would have the wrong mindset that would come in. So like having friends that want to do stuff like that and have, you know, the passion about it. Now I can share my story in a way that I would never be able to. I would never be able to put that stuff out that way without paying someone thousands and thousands of dollars for the work that Isaac's done. And so we're just trading art with each other. I'm sharing my art with him to help him get better, and he's sharing his art with me to help get better. And then there's other people that are doing that stuff too. You know, it's a community of artisans, you know, and I love that. I love the idea, and kind of like we were talking about with some other stuff, like the bartering kind of idea of things. Like I'll trade you my goods and services for your goods and services of value equally. And, you know, as long as it's 50 pounds for 50 pounds or whatever, or if I need to get 100 pounds and you only get 50 pounds of mine, but we see that as equal, then that's even. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't.
Just need the power company to start taking bartering.
Right. Yeah. That's the only problem. You know?
If we can get them on this system, we'll be.
Yeah. Flint don't let us eat for free. You know, got to pay these bills, son. That's why we need money though, and that's why we ask for donations, or that's why we try to sell products and stuff like that, is to help facilitate some.
But that's the rash, like the rash guard we're trying to provide, like we're talking about with the culture. Like I want for this to start being
I pay
a thing.
People, and people ask me, how do you get these really cool rash guards? I pay someone to draw that. I pay them. That's how I get it. And if you want one, then find an artist and pay an artist for their art, and you will get something beautiful. Because you value their art,
and I've never understood the society thing about devaluing art, you know, or thinking that somebody else can draw that
exposure
and go get them,
you know? And go just do it,
go get them to do it,
you know, and it's not an original idea. Even if it's not an original idea, I can't put it together.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I can barely copy and paste shit. Straight up, you know what I mean? If it gets you know that if it gets a couple layers deep, it's like, here, man, I'll just hand you my passwords and logins and take my phone or whatever and take over the technical. I'm lost now, and we need to get it done though. And so I hand it to the people like me. Okay, Steven, you're the black belt. Well, Steven is a blue belt at best. I don't know, man. I got a couple strikes over the weekend for my camera.
You got some strikes. We'll have to see the Wandering Grappler next week. Oh, that's gonna be
my camera and stuff debut on there. We turned it and we
flip the dream show on its head.
The script.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's to dabble, and I'm interested in music, even though I can't make great music. I like people who make music, and that's why I became such a big fan of the kid Evan. That was the blue belt on PGF, because
a lot.
Yes, yes. And then is that song like the world changing song or whatever? No, but in that moment, I respected it because it was his expression of his emotions and what he was feeling, and I still stand by that. It was the realest expression of what that should be the PGF theme song. If they could get away with the copyright stuff on it.
Yeah, we got knocked every single one of those.
We get no money off of anything that we played that on.
Is that backbeat?
The sample.
The sample.
Yeah, I Love You by God, I can't remember the name.
You knew it,
yeah. I used to know the name because I started listening. I like the sample.
Sure.
The old song. It's like, I love you.
We just got to work on getting him an agent.
Yeah, I mean,
they got to work some stuff out.
But he's working on his craft.
Yeah.
You know, and in 10 years, maybe he does have a hit song and it's a jujitsu song or something crap. You never know. He's the G and Nogi.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow. That might change it from 8 Mile.
I don't know. But I thought that was really cool that he did that and that he put himself on the line. He put himself on the line right then.
For sure.
That was making a walk that a lot of people won't walk. You know what I mean? He knew that he was already going into that Shark Tank basically for those days. And he dropped that song the day it started.
That took some cojones.
That's what, like, I told Isaac that day, I was like, that kid's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem.
I've yet to choke him.
Just doing that, just when that happened. That's what I say is like, sometimes you just know that he didn't have the skills yet, but he had the will to make people earn it.
Yeah.
And if you weren't prepared, then he put it on you,
Yep.
you know, and he beat people he shouldn't have beat.
For sure.
Because they didn't think he could, you know, and I didn't submit him because I didn't think he could stop me. And he did.
Yeah.
You
took that one a little lightly. I remember.
I just knew I could run game on him.
And
I thought I was going to get the kill easily because based on what I had.
That was the one you spent like 3 minutes on your feet, right? You guys were.
No.
Oh, what was that?
We got this one going. I think that was Kamoy.
Was it?
Or Big Mike. I had 2 matches like that. Kamoy and Big Mike. We kind of danced around too much. Yeah.
But you and Evan did dance around because there was the moment where Evan came after you over at the edge.
I think, okay.
And he thought you were gonna toss him on his head.
Because I told him I was. I was mad.
And I would.
I was mad. I was in a bad mental state that day. And then the fact that I couldn't put him away was pissing me off.
Who was after him? Because I think that was the big thing.
That was the last day. Was
that
Evan,
what it was?
It was Evan, James, and then Matt Elkins.
Okay.
It was
so you were
3.
looking through Evan a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I just needed to kill them all.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get him done fast, and it wasn't going fast. And then it didn't happen at all. I was like,
is that why you were
so mad?
That's
one of the reasons I was mad. One of the reasons. I mean, the whole thing was making me mad because I wasn't winning as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, and that like I'm a competitor. I was doing good. I did great. You know, comparatively to some people.
Absolutely.
But I was salty about some of the outcomes because I thought I could do better.
Yeah.
And I should have done better. And because I made some strategy choices that were not right.
For sure.
And so I played myself in a couple of situations where I shouldn't have been playing. Like I should have just did the deed and like got it out of the way, you know. I set myself up for failure a couple of times, and that was what pissed me off.
Okay.
I shot myself in the foot, and I knew that.
Sure.
And the fact that I couldn't clear it up yet made it hard.
Sure.
Because we had to sit on it until it came out.
Okay.
And so I had to like stay in my head about it. So I had to, so I would know the reasoning, you know.
Sure.
But then also just move past some bad decisions. You have to just let it go.
Sure.
But we had to watch it back, you know. Sure. And I have all these students and everything.
How did you feel watching your interviews back and stuff? Were there any like?
I think I had some good. I think they edited me well.
Yeah,
I think they did a good job for me.
They
have more.
You especially got.
They have some shit. I bet that's not the best that they could have edited together. I think, but
I felt like you and Elkins boys shared like truthfully. Honestly,
I think that's
every
a
single
thing.
encounter. You know? Not saying that everybody else didn't, but you guys were.
Oh, like, some of those guys were straight
on the table.
Some of them were being fake.
But I mean, like, you guys specifically, it was apparent you guys were just like,
well, that's what we were doing.
What the fuck happened, and
that was the whole point. That was why I did it. Is because I was like, I'm gonna go out here and like I told you, I was gonna go prove the way that we do it, you know, and then. Sometimes I made bad decisions, and that was frustrating to me. But I had to be honest about it. And when I messed up, I said I messed up. And when I overplayed it, I said I overplayed it. And I think some of these guys they can't accept. People have a hard time accepting that and telling other people, kind of like that I don't know thing. It's hard to say, man, I messed that up. That was my fault.
Yeah.
Not that Brandon and Keelan screwed me. Like I had a moment or two like that where I heard some Brandon coach somebody for a split second, and I was like, "Did you coach him?" No,
it was Scaff. It was Scaff over the loudspeaker.
Yeah, I was like, "My bad, man. I'm sorry. I was just in my head. Too bad. I'm sorry." And he's like, "No, don't worry about it." I was like, "Okay." But just like I just
that's a competitor thing.
No,
like somebody who's already competed,
like
though, they get it.
No, again, that's what I was saying. But it was just I needed everything so badly.
Sure.
And then any slighted that I would feel became super amplified.
Did that grow you think, as a coach?
A ton, man. Like I said, all those experiences were very valuable. Going and staying and having to be there was valuable because of like we're talking about with the GPS thing, going to Lonnie's course and having to stay and get those lessons after being a bitch about it. Like,
do you feel there was like some weight or pressure on you that
tons.
Isn't normally there? Because I mean, like when you speak like that, I think of like, dude, this guy's made the walk in MMA so many times. Not every walk could have been like you might have been going in with an injury. It couldn't have all been perfect.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
sure.
you know, to hear you say that, you know, you had that going on, you know, there must have been some, you know, like weight, some gravitas to PGF that you don't normally feel.
All of a sudden, I was the 10th Planet Black Belt representative to the nation almost. I felt like.
Sure.
And I wasn't producing the way that I felt like I wanted to represent for that like higher ideal.
Sure.
But I didn't. But when I signed up, I didn't put that pressure on myself because that's not who. That was not the point.
So did it come after? It came after.
Yeah. So once I got there, and then we realized, like I said, I was the older guy in the room, the elder statesman, and then also the only 10th Planet Black Belt and only one of 2 black belts in the whole room. It was like, shoot, now I have to like represent the higher ideals and morals and like in interactions I need to treat like these guys don't know what I know. They haven't been where I've been. Despite their own experiences, some of them are still very immature. And so I needed to handle things differently. So yeah, there's a few times I wanted to freak out, to be honest with you, about things. And I tempered myself, and having Isaac there was helpful to help me like compartmentalize things and talk about what may be really going on instead of what I perceived as the slight from someone or whatever. Sure. Like people are just, I don't know. You know, I like to create monsters in my own head sometimes. Sure, and then that goes back to that always wanting to be better. Even when I won, I felt like I could win better. Even when I lost, I thought I could lose better. Like I still thought that maybe I can't beat this guy, but I could lose better than I did.
Right.
I could make him go 2 or 3 layers deeper than he did.
Sure.
I got submitted like in under a minute twice. And that hasn't happened. I don't know when. You know, before that, I couldn't remember. I still can't recall. Like, I'd have to think for a while to think about the time before. And it happened twice in a week.
Sure.
And it was going to be on TV for YouTube for everyone to see. And I had to, you know, to go on. How are you the man and the leader of men and the commander of the room when you just got submitted in 10 seconds twice by these guys? Well, what do you do?
When they realize that there's a 1%.
Right. But then you could be a coward though and never make the walk.
For sure. Exactly.
Because you'd have to have that conversation with your guys and be like, hey, I'm also human.
But at that 1%, like the slightest,
it doesn't take much.
Millimeter changes everything, you know? So
no, it allowed a lot. It allowed for my students to see me for real, to see how I would really act.
That seems hugely important.
I would really like how I would really be when I came back from 7 days of locked in battle, basically. And it changed me. It did. It changed the whole school. The whole school's changed a lot since then. Good. We lost people. That's
good though.
You know, and maybe it was, and that's what we were talking about too. It's like we lost some people that maybe we did need to lose a little bit. I think I just hit the chord.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Oh, you put it all the way out. Keep talking.
Nobody's here.
Oh, shoot. No, keep talking. I'll fix it.
Can I? Oh, there. It's this. There we go. I gotta stop hitting. I gotta stop pounding the table. Getting fired up. What was I talking about? I forgot now.
That was a bad one. I was gonna say that your team, but like your team,
the team,
but like the bonding they got over supporting you, and we all posted up at Becca's,
PGF watch parties. They were doing it at Becca's house, his sister Becca's tech house. She was hosting watch parties and things every Friday night, and so 8 or 10 or more would come.
Oh, they were like 15 or 20 one night. Yeah,
and I would come when I was in town and not out of town doing things, and would come and watch it, and like it was important for that to happen, and nobody ever knew the outcomes. Only Isaac.
Right.
Nobody ever knew what they were getting into.
Right.
So the nights that I got submitted fast, I was talking trash just like I was going to win. you know, and that was heavy. It was hard to be that guy. But it was important for the show.
Yeah.
It was important, and it was important for them to get to see it play out.
Sure.
Without me souring what the product was going to show them with my own take of what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys, I get submitted pretty fast tonight, so then nobody would tune in and watch it. So I needed everybody to see this.
Word.
I need you to see the reaction. I need you to see.
Sure.
This is where some of those things that I say in class come from.
Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
why I speak the way I speak. This is why I am the way I am. This is why I treat people the way I do. This is why I say what I say about winning and losing, because I've done it.
Yeah.
You know, I have the experience to know what happens, and I have the experience to know that you can try your best and still lose. You can be smarter than other people and still make the wrong decision.
Right.
You can be in a room full of people and be better than most of them, but still not give yourself enough credit, and it'll be something that'll be detrimental to you.
For sure.
But then also you can be too confident.
Yeah.
In some matches, just because like those matches that I got zeros in, a couple of them I thought I was going to win and like get 6 or whatever, and it just didn't come. That was frustrating. Seeing things played back and hearing people talk, and they didn't say what they were saying to you, but they'll say some stuff like when you're not around. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. So that's who
Keep
you
that
are.
energy.
That's who you are.
Exactly.
I know who you are. Like, that's what I mean, though. Like, you didn't get anything from me, though, that wasn't going to be honest. None of the interviews, like, they could have probably put some stuff on there where I was crying.
Sure.
But I'll tell you, I'll cry. I love it. I'm passionate about it. This is my heart and soul.
I think you saw that in the finale that we left. Like I had that as a filmmaker. Moment was I didn't know what to leave in, but I mean, I saw the raw emotion of how much you had put into it.
It's sad, man. It still makes me want to tear up a little bit because I was so unsuccessful with what I thought I was going to be able to do. I wanted to do better. I still want to do better. I still, you know, it's just, this is my passion. This is the thing that's set me on the path to whatever greatness I have, has been my martial arts training. And so it's hard to separate myself from the outcome still. It's because that's been my personal, kind of like I was talking about a move that you hit that was a bad move or whatever. Like, those wins have been what I've attached my identity to a lot of times. So I want to go get that feeling of people patting me on the back and telling me I'm good enough. And like, you believe it when you win a lot of times, but then when you lose and people tell you, man, you just went like 13 minutes with that guy and it was like a good back and forth kind of match.
You're really tough.
It's like, I don't want to be tough. Right. I'm past that. I was tough 20 years ago. I was tough 15 years ago. I was tough 10 years ago. Now I want to be good. I want to be technical. I want to be, you know what I mean? I want to be more than tough.
For sure.
Like, tough is the default. Tough is expected. You know, everybody's tough. Everybody that got on that stage was tough.
For sure.
None of the guys that were in that finale, you know what I mean? So that's a cop out. That's a cop out, like pat on the back to somebody that's not like appreciated. I know I'm tough.
So is everybody else here.
Everybody else here is tough.
Yeah.
That's a prerequisite to getting in the club, you know? So yeah, it was sad. I was really sad and frustrated. And there was a lot of emotion that went into it because I don't know that may have been the last time I ever walk out there and compete.
Okay.
I feel like it might be.
Really?
It was the last time I'll put that much energy into it. I promise that.
Okay.
I'll never commit to it as hard as I did for that PGF season and the finale and stuff.
Okay.
Because I just don't have the energy right now. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in 10 years when the kids are older and things are a little bit slower everywhere else in life, I'll find that. And maybe I'll do another competition for fun. But and that's what I'm saying is like, but
some masters,
something, but it won't ever carry. I won't ever carry that same energy to where I feel so much strain to get it done right. And so then part of that goes into that representing for the 10th Planet system as a black belt and stuff. So that makes me kind of, if I'm not going to commit to doing it all the way, I may just want to stay away from the competition scene and just keep building the soldiers up.
Yeah. And
then whenever I feel the right time, if it comes up, then I'll be ready to commit to doing it the right way. Cause I don't want to go out there half-assed. That's the last thing I want to do is misrepresent myself or my team or my coaches. I'm just like you. White belts. I want to represent for Boogie and Eddie and the people in the system that are above me, all the coaches and the people that fought and carried the banner before I was in there in this position. Like, I want to pick it up. I want to pick up the flag and I want to carry it. And I want my students to pick it up and carry it for me too. You know, and that's what I think that's what it is. The higher ordeals. You can't buy into it. You can't buy the 10th planet system. You can't buy a school. You can't just be a black belt and have a school. You have to be like a made man in that way to get in. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. It's not easy. Even though there's 100 schools around the world now, that's only 100 around the entire world, you know, and there's lots of black belts. So if you want to be a 10th planet moonhead, that there's some things that you got to go through.
Do you think that'll get increasingly harder as the years go?
Yes.
From just my short time in there, I can already see the evolution of how Eddie's kind of structuring, you know, what's going on business wise.
You got too many people clout chasing.
100%. And too many like representatives of the system that aren't
true representatives.
True, or they're not good enough people to represent it. You know what I mean?
Like people in general.
Like yeah, you know, just getting into just being horrible people.
Yeah.
You know? So
I
think Eddie's just done a really good job of like
we want you
staying
to be
connected, staying connected with his system. He's not one of these guys that you know, has a business and delegates other people to run it.
He seems to pay attention.
Dude, yeah.
He pays extra attention.
Talking about attention to detail, you know, like that's something I really respect about Eddie. Is is how detail orientated he is.
We joke about it, but I don't know if you heard that beat before, but Isaac posted a still image of someone doing like an old school sweep. And
it was me doing an old school.
And he didn't have his hand in the right position or whatever. And within just a couple minutes, he already had a couple black belts sending him messages about where his hand placement should be.
Sure.
Guess who the first one was, though? Eddie. 10 seconds. No.
Oh, Steven.
10 seconds.
The streets is watching, baby. So that's awesome. Noted. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're out there. And I got in trouble as a brown belt out in San Diego for posting stuff and not having the right stuff in it. And Eddie got Boogie, and Boogie called down to me and was like, you got to delete that because it's not right. And I was like, oh, my bad. I didn't know that it wasn't right. I thought it worked. I tapped the guy out. He's like, yeah, but it's still wrong. And so that was it. That's when I started trying to think about what the hell they were talking about. Because I thought it was the same thing, but it was not the same thing. It was a calf slicer, but it was not the vaporizer.
Right.
So I was telling someone, the vaporizer inside and out.
The vaporizer is from the lockdown, and I did the calf slicer from the truck.
Okay,
different things.
Totally different.
Not wrong, but
completely different leg configuration.
Yes.
Wrong
different
to call it. Yeah.
Wrong for what wrong for what I called it, based on what Eddie calls.
Which then messes the system.
Which then makes things wrong. It's
muddies the water.
But it was a great move. But it was named wrong. So that's one of the things that's important, you know, and that's why I struggle. I still struggle sometimes with the nomenclature because I came up in other systems. I've had a handful of other coaches. And so I still call things the old name and have to try to recall you know, it's like speaking two languages or whatever. And you never got proficient.
I'm always missing steps just because I don't do the action.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get the middle portions of it. I only get the end result usually, you know. So
yeah, and so that's the thing, is working through some of the neck, because some people will call it one thing, some people call it the other thing. Like this weekend, Brandon called that Oprah hook, and I've heard Boogie, I think, call it shortstop, like a railroad guard position. I don't know. People call it what they want to call it, but there's certain things that are like definitely in the system with a very specific name, and if you do that wrong, the name, then you're going to get called on it. And if you do the move wrong,
definitely
you're going to get called on it. So you can't be tagging, you know, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu if it's not 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. It could be Jiu-Jitsu, but it's not 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
For sure.
You know, and so just, you know.
I get a bit of a pass that way, I think.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like not all Jiu-Jitsu, I mean, like all Jiu-Jitsu fits inside of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. So don't get me wrong, you can use any Jiu-Jitsu.
What was yours? I saw y'all tagging yours, Pita Plata.
The Pita Plata.
The Pita Plata. Yeah.
I thought about that one a little bit. We just got to think about the enunciation of that one. You don't want to have a pedo plata?
Yeah.
The Pete
A
plata?
pedo
Yeah.
plata.
Pete O Plata.
Yes. The Peter plata?
Peter O Plata.
The
That
retardo plata.
Yeah. That works though, right? You never knew that he would play rubber guard, huh? He's got the most rubber guard there is. What's up? What's up?
No hip on one side.
No Z
What's
guard.
up?
No Z guard. Rubber guard for days. He can leg pummel with his hands.
What is
my hands?
What's your submission of choice if you're looking for one? Like if you're hunting one?
I'm usually arm hunting.
All arms.
You not all arms, but I'm usually arm hunting sets me up for a lot of other stuff.
Okay.
Wrist.
But I don't use wrist locks any. I was talking about that the other day. The first year or so, I was in 10th Planet. That's all I used to do. It's all I would know how to do would be wrist locking people, no gi, right? But I feel like everybody got hip to it super quick.
Yeah.
You know, at the technique collector. I mean,
so then what would happen? I guess honestly, thinking about that now, then you just mentioned that you were in the gi first. Now, I don't know why I never thought to ask this. What was the biggest thing to you then taking away the handles?
Oh, dude, it was
How
it was a
different is
nightmare.
that?
Yeah, it was I had to start finding handles like on the body. You know what I mean? And I like I do certain things that,
like we do.
They would get yeah. But I mean there's certain like handles and hand positions that I think get you in trouble when you're on your back, which I mostly
typically are.
But I do things that would normally get, I think, other people into trouble that I get away with a little bit just because I'm strong and long. But yeah, I mean, taking away the grips. I mean, doing the inverse of it as well. Talking about the inverse, not being able to get held down for a whole match. That was like the most beautiful part about doing no-gi for me was somebody had to use their body weight and they had to do it correctly in order for me to be pinned, you know? And I felt like in the beginning, I had a lot more options to escape or transition out of things, you know? And I still feel that way. There's a lot more room for movement when you're not being held down by your pajamas, you know? So,
yeah,
but
super interesting.
But yeah, my biggest kill shot though is something Gabe Tuttle taught to me, and that's Infinity Slicer.
Gabe sucks.
Yeah, Gabe sucks though. He doesn't know anything. but yeah, I go for this arm crush. It's just anytime I get that Kimura trap, I'm always looking to crush that arm. Always.
We have to steal that from you. Get some education on that.
Word.
Y'all need to just tune into my YouTube channel over the next week. We'll get some Infinity Slicer tips from Mr. Pete coming out to y'all here.
And then there's going to be a subscription.
You like that? What is that called in the business? No. When I set up something what was that called? I set up the Kajabi thing talking about the YouTube.
Segue.
Oh, a segue. Yeah. That was like, what are you trying to look for here?
A segue. It's like the thing that people used to ride around.
I would have got it right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Segue. Then I would have known what it was too.
Paul Blart.
Dated. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the segue from the techniques on YouTube is like we're gonna start. We have the Kajabi basically built out. It's gonna be the online platform where I host some of my instructionals. We're gonna start with like a class archives. Probably just do that for like $5 a month, honestly, on a subscription service. And we'll be uploading a couple classes a week on there at least. And then I'm going to start building out like instructional courses based on things that I like to do, the way I like to do rubber guard, the way I like to do lockdown, the way I like to do truck, the way, a bunch of different things like that. So it may not be much different than what other people have done, but it'll be my take on it. It'll be my philosophy sprinkled in through there. So if you like what I say about things or whatever, then you'll be able to get my take on rubber guard, lockdown, passing, the way that I build my game and structure my stuff. It'll be on there, but you'll also get access to the class archives and stuff like that, where you get to see us more in our natural element where it's not so produced and we're, laughing, and you see what the classroom's more like too. And I think that's kind of important for some people to see, more than just the way you lay down technique is the way that you treat your people and you build your tribe up and you make everyone feel the way they feel sometimes. So I think that the class archive gives a little bit of that dual feeling because it's not gonna be produced like that's one of the funny things too about watching your show. Sometimes it's like, oh damn, I'm a little bit silly. But it makes me happy though. Like I don't want to be all stiff and untouchable.
For sure.
And stand, I like to go in and play and laugh and giggle and roll and stuff like that. So it's fun for me. So you'll get to see some of that stuff if you enjoy that. But then you'll also get where I sit down and break down the technique of XYZ and step 1, step 2, step 3. And those will be for sale at whatever rate I decide, it's worth for the time and effort that we put into it. Because this is going to help feed Isaac and help put money in their pockets and stuff too for using his art to help get my art out on there. So we're like, we're structuring up a whole thing here now. And then with some of that, we're going to also, I guess I'll announce this now, start doing a coaches like group where nice. I'll get like 4 or 5 guys, I think is what I'm going to stop at, or it doesn't have to always be guys, but like 4 or 5 people in that I'll start helping with like building programs and
like mentorship
them. Yeah. That's like awesome. Something like that. That's and then awesome. I'll have some of the guys that I'm connected with and able to get to come in and talk and maybe do little things to help build strategies and systems for people and stuff like that too. So we're gonna have all that stuff out. It should be any day now, Isaac, right? You guys are
like we're 90, working we're almost done. I'm working on the finishing touches on some
over
stuff.
My head.
Yeah.
So we got it going. It's pretty close. It looks good. It'll be the dream StephenAiken.mykajabi.com. So if you guys want to go over there, I don't think it's live yet, but it'll be ready for subscriptions in the next week. I would really appreciate anybody's support. Obviously, I think you'll get a good value for everything that you buy. So just segue into that. We're gonna have some techniques out soon. It's gonna be really cool. Excellent. I'm excited. But I think we're getting close to my time. Wow, shite. I started feeling it a little bit. But I guess now I could go into the segue for the weekend. Super, super excited. I mentioned this on the Instagram stream that I was doing right before we started this. The Matt Elkins and the guys from Ironclad are coming over tonight to my gym, and he's bringing some guys, some blue and white belts and stuff that are going to come compete against some of our blue and white belts, and like a friendly, if you will, like a little team duel kind of where we let them get some experience against each other. Because it's far enough away that they don't get to touch each other in open mats, and even in competitions, it would be hard to get, them together sometimes. So they're coming over tonight, so we're going to do that at 7. I think we may put that on Twitch, but we may get stuff set up so it could be on YouTube. I don't know for sure. So guys, stay tuned to that. Then tomorrow is Saturday. Yes. The Mid-South Classic. I was just making sure. All of a sudden, I don't know why I doubted what the day was, because usually this is Wednesday. Mid-South Classic. The Mid-South Classic is tomorrow. It starts at 1:00 here on YouTube. We're gonna try to test some simulcasting on another channel or something like that too. But stay tuned for that. It's gonna happen. So we are gonna simulcast on Brandon's. Yeah, so we're gonna simulcast the Mid-South Classic. It's gonna also be on Brandon and McCatherine's channel. An idea that we're kind of playing with to get more exposure to the people and to
the Olympics. It's on every channel. It's like being on NBC, CSB, CNBC.
Right. We're going to like that idea to where whatever's going on that day gets out there, but it's on a bunch of free channels.
Right.
It's out. Awesome. It's not behind a bunch of paywalls. It's not $25 for a feed that's cutting out and people making fart jokes and stuff like that.
So 1:00,
1:00 tomorrow, the Mid-South Classic,
10:00 Pacific,
10 Pacific. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you got to do the math on that. It's going to be brought to you by the Musgrove Trial Firm, Sheath Underwear, Matt Viper, Works Bookkeeping and Accounting, Turnkey Connections, myself and Isaac, and then all of you for your support. Like y'all help bringing this to these guys. We're giving away $1,000 to the men's 185 open rank winner. And then $1,000 to blue belts, 155 below.
Who would have thought when you were a blue belt you could make $1,000 for doing
not
jiu-jitsu?
When I was a blue belt.
Legit. I mean, when I started 7 years ago, it was never.
I want to find out what these not amateur, but these low rank pros are making for MMA fights now, because I see everybody posting these people posting these payouts that they're giving people. Let's start.
I know a guy that fought for $800 last month.
$800 for an MMA fight for all
That's
that preparation,
unreal,
and you're a professional. We got a chance for you to make $1,000 as a blue belt over here, and you could be a blue belt in the open rank one too. So cash your lot if you want to come and get in. We're gonna do more of these things. It's about the culture. It's about growing the culture. That's what we're about. It's an art form for us. It's exciting for us. That's why we're doing it. And so if you think what we're doing is cool, we would love to have your support. And you can do that through one of the various ways. Sheath Underwear, Mid-South saves 20. If you have
Rash Guard,
Mid-South rash guards coming out from Matt Viper. We sell rash guards at 10th Planet Perry, so you can follow me on my social medias and
Braves
stuff.
one looks fire.
Sick. That's what I'm saying. And so
sick.
but you get what you pay for a lot of times for people. And so we're paying for Phalanx, which is made in the USA now. So we're buying American-made products, which is something that I kind of talk about sometimes in one of the higher ideals that I believe in, spending money with people who are doing what you think is the right thing. Yep. And I think them bringing jobs to the United States and keeping like manufacturing jobs in the country is important. And then helping them helps people that I know. So I'm going to pay the artist to draw it, and I'm going to pay a little bit more per rash guard to get it made in the USA. So I'm not going to make as much money off of it, but everybody's going to get a little bit of money, and then everybody gets a really great product. So instead of me making $50 off of a $10 rash guard, I might make like $20 off of each one or something like that, which is still way more than we need off of all that stuff. So, so if you guys want to support us, that would be great. You'll get a dope rash guard from either Matt Viper or from Phalanx. If you want to buy from us, Mid-South saves 20 with Sheath Underwear, 678-226-1994 for the Musgrove Trial Firm. What else? Hot takes?
The WanderingGrappler.com for the
WanderingGrappler.com for the
Mid-South
Rash
Guard.
Guards. 9 a.m. on Monday. There's only a few of them. Hopefully we can get those things sold out right away because there's not that many, and they're a really cool product to have. $60. Let us know if you want to try to get in. We'll try to have it ready for you. But there's no guarantees. If you don't get there first, you're not going to get there. Hot takes?
Gabe sucks.
Gabe sucks. That's not a hot take. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Anything else? What happened this weekend? There's something that happened this weekend.
DDS broke up.
They didn't break up. They're just
it's both, a publicity.
They're moving to Austin and having 2 gyms.
Publicity.
Did it smack of you as a little bit of like bitterness? I felt
little brother going with the B team. I'm talking
about Donahur's post. Donahur's post. It felt to me like it was like, hey, I'm gonna name all these guys, and the guys I don't name are the reason why the fucking team isn't staying together. So F those guys, and I'm gonna let you know.
It could have seemed a little backhanded. Yeah.
To me, I was like, ooh. You didn't name like key people from
people that you thought were like
like Ethan.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was causing some of the trouble.
Maybe,
but I'm just
They've
saying.
Been trapped on an island
I'm just
together.
saying though that post it was less gracious and grateful to me than it was like bitterness and
so what do you
throwing under the bus.
So?
Shut the fuck up.
From an elitist
to
squad like
me,
that, where they all think they're already
people,
better than everybody in every way.
But to me, you think that people that preach, keep it in the room,
10P4L,
all that kind of stuff would have a bit more,
hamburgers.
Like, you think they would just keep it in house? It seemed like an in-house thing, So.
I think that part of it too was that they were they're on an island, so I mean they've only been able to deal with each other for whatever this amount of time. So I think that some of it might have been, but I also think a lot of it is. I heard some guys on one of the other podcasts, the PGF Insider, talking about that they were saying that they didn't.
We see you. We're coming after y'all.
But they were saying that it seemed like a marketing scheme, and it's a smart one. Of like, no one's going to talk about Craig and all those guys, but now they do. And now there's all this conversation. We're sitting here talking about it. Whereas if they were just moving to Austin, it's like, oh yeah, DDS is going to Austin. We knew they were going to move from that island.
I feel like personally, I was already talking about it in a way that was kind of like, why is Nicky Rod doing his own tour? Why is he doing it with, not that the why, like it's a bad thing, but
well, you were really paying attention too.
Yeah. I mean,
well, they've been locked down.
We know Hector's 10P, but he's one of the guys that's kind of fronting all of these tours for these guys, right? Him and that what's that cat's name that runs BJJ World TV?
He was on that first episode. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
When I saw these guys or the promotional outfit for these guys' tours, I was kind of like, this might be the beginning of like a split, a bit of a separation of what that room was to whatever it is now.
Happens, and then that's the thing is like you can be a room full of killers, but if everybody's not like-minded and goal set on the same stuff together, then you'll split up, and it happens a lot, and people grow apart.
It already happened to that team. Already happened with Eddie, right?
Yeah, it already happens.
Eddie Cummings.
Yeah, there's people that fall out, and that's the sad part. Sometimes is that people they fall out of love with each other, even if you're bros. You
gotta think. You gotta think about how strong all those egos are. You know.
Oh, you gotta imagine that's a thick room,
dude. Like, I don't even know how a lot of them fit in there, man.
Do what?
Nothing.
You want to show the stream your poster? You can show them your poster. You only showed the before.
They don't need to see it yet. You have to tune in further to see more artwork that I keep getting and accumulating for myself and for.
It's gonna look like the Pottery Barn in here.
What?
The WWE fell into the Pottery Barn.
And the Masters of the Universe. But that's it for me. I think coming up, we got that thing, and then the Wandering Grappler, getting ready to get him in the PGF season 3, going to Atlanta soon. Yeah. I won't be there, but I got some seminars coming up. August 21st, I'm in Elko, Nevada. September 11th, I'll be in Wetumpka, Alabama. Is that how you say?
Wetumpka, Alabama.
Wetumpka, in the middle of Alabama, teaching a seminar over there. So, if anybody, and then in September the 4th or 5th, I'm going to do like a donation seminar in San Diego. I'm going to go out there, and Mandy and I are going to go for our birthday and spend the weekend in San Diego. So I'll probably do a seminar that day to hang out some. So if you guys are in San Diego, just be on the lookout. Boogie told me we could do it on like, I think that 5th or whatever that Saturday is probably. So that would be cool. Otherwise, yeah, we're just hustling. We're pushing these things. We're getting ready for the Dream No-Gi Camp in October. We're learning a lot about the customs and the way that shipping and taxes and all kinds of things work. So we're getting a lot of education. So stay with us if you want to do more trips and travel and stuff. We have some Nats that are down there that we are learning how the process goes. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of things going on that's not always jiu-jitsu related, but it's all funneling up towards some really great jiu-jitsu content and ideas and fun stuff for everybody. So, I appreciate everybody that's tuning in, everybody that's in the comments and, staying around with us. Thank you, Pete. We may have you back in here, honestly, for the next couple of weeks while you're here, just to give us some more perspective on things that are happening in and around. Isaac, pick one technique.
Pick one technique.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I was like, are you asking me?
Exactly. No.
Dude, you want to plug anything?
Yeah. What you got? What you want to plug? What you talk about?
I don't think I got anything. I might be teaching in Bellingham, Washington towards the end of August.
Okay.
That might be a thing.
All right. And he's going to be teaching some here
on my Instagram, Deadweight JJ.
Oh yeah, Deadweight JJ on Instagram. That's the homie. He's been on mine recently. I posted the Pete O Plata. Yeah, check it out.
Definitely.
Much love, everybody. Peace. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All in. 1, 2, 3, 4.